Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here, directly on the Monday Night Showdown slate between the Seahawks and the Vikings. A couple things before I get into the video. If you're new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos talking about NBA DFS as well as NFL DFS. Also, I'm here to announce the winner to the weekly $20 PayPal giveaway. So, the winner is Anthony Rodriguez. Congratulations, man. Either hit me up in the YouTube comment section or you can hit me up on Twitter. I'll make sure to get you that $20 PayPal. So again, if you're new to the channel, this is how it works. Is all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. That's one entry in the giveaway. Max one comment though per video. So it starts with this video. We'll go throughout the week and my Monday Night Showdown video at the end of the week. And however many videos I've uploaded for the week, you're on the giveaway that many times. Say if I have 10 videos uploaded for the week, you're on the giveaway 10 times. Again, the winner will receive $20 PayPal for myself. Again, this will continue going on every single week. So yeah, again, congrats to Anthony. Again, hit me up on either YouTube or Twitter. But with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. So before we get into the prices here, let's look at the over-unders and the spreads, or the over-under and the spread, as well as the snap counts for these teams. So right now it's sitting at 49.5 with the Seahawks here by 3. So this is definitely a higher over-under game. Let's take a look at some snap counts here from Minnesota. So we got news that Adam Thielen will actually miss this game. So Dalvin Cook, running back situation, he's basically getting about 80% of the snaps. We know he's the workhorse back. Madison and Abdullah will get a little bit of work here and there, but those guys are really only dart throws in this slate. Stephon Diggs and Johnson, Stephon Diggs getting about 80 to 90% of the snaps, with Johnson getting about 80% of the snaps with Thielen out. I think that's going to continue, in its game tomorrow. Laquan Treadwell getting about 15 or so percent. Again, that's more of a dart throw. As far as tight ends go, Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith have been playing a lot of snaps here, 87 and 81%. So they're running a lot of 3 or 2 tight end sets, I should say. On the Seattle side, so Chris Carson, the game before last, played in 96% of snaps, while Rashad Penny only played in 4. That last game, though, 54 and 46%. Penny was playing pretty well. They rode with him in the late game. So that's definitely something we have to consider going into this game, this Monday night game tomorrow. As far as wide receivers and their snap counts, Lockett and DK Metcalf have been getting about 80 to 90% of the snaps. And then it's kind of a combination of 3 guys getting the rest here. David Moore, Turner, and Josh Gordon all picking up about 25 to 35% of snaps. Tight end situation is Hollister is the go-to guy here, playing about 70% of the snaps. Tyrone Swoops picked up about 28% in that last game. But that's about it for snap counts. So let's take a look at the prices here. And at the top is Dalvin Cook at 11.8K. I think he's a pretty safe option. We know he's going to basically play the whole game. He's a workhorse back. He gets involved in the passing game. There's really not a whole lot of bad things to say about him. It's just his price tag, right? He's pretty expensive at 11.8K. So if you have the salary, I think he's a pretty safe option. Again, they utilize him a lot, whether it be on the ground or through the air, and he's out there almost the whole game. As far as quarterback go, Russell Wilson at 10.8K. Don't mind it at all here. He's had a couple down games, but we know the upside's pretty high. And the good thing with him is he does have a rushing floor, right? He's a guy that can get you a touchdown on the ground. He's not like a Lamar Jackson. He's not going to run for like 100 yards on the ground, but he's a guy that can get you like 30 to 40 yards and maybe a touchdown on the ground. So does have that floor. And at 10.8K, again, I have no issue here. It's just whether or not you feel comfortable with the value guys to fit him in there. Stephon Diggs at 9.8K obviously gets a boost with no Thielen. He's the clear-cut go-to guy here. In the last game, had 5 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown. So 9.8K. He's fairly priced, and with no Thielen, that's a boost, right? He's the clear-cut go-to guy as far as wide receivers go. So no issue there. Stephon Diggs 9.8K. Tyler Lockett at 9.6K. It's an interesting buy low here because he's had 5 and 4 fantasy points the last couple games, but he's still playing big snaps, right? He's still out there almost the whole time, 80, 90% of the snaps. And we know the upside is there, right? He put up a 40 fantasy point game. He's had a 35 fantasy point game so far this season. So we know the upside's there. This is a slightly tougher matchup here, but not too worried. And again, it's an interesting buy low here because I think recency bias will lower his ownership. So he's an intriguing play. I think, with him and Diggs, I think Diggs is going to be way more popular because of no Thielen, and again, with recency bias, Lockett. But interesting pivot would be Lockett. I think he's going to probably be, half the ownership of Stefon Diggs, and both I think have similar upsides. So just take that in consideration. Kirk Cousins at 9K is definitely viable. Again, the quarterbacks on the slate they always have the highest floor. So if you want a really, really safe option, you can definitely plug in both quarterbacks. I will talk about some cheap options here in a sec where I think you can fit both quarterbacks in. Now, if you're going to make me choose between these quarterbacks with Kirk Cousins at 9K and Russell Wilson at 10.8, I'm just going to lean towards Russell Wilson for a couple thousand more just because, again, he's got that rushing upside. I just feel his ceiling is a little bit higher than a guy like Kirk Cousins. The Minnesota offense, they really like running, the two tight end sets kind of run the ball a lot. So I think that somewhat limits Kirk Cousins' upside. So again, I think I'm going to prefer Russell Wilson if you're going to make me choose between those two quarterbacks. Chris Carson at 8.4K. So the downside here is that Rashad Penny had a really good game and he could be in line for more work. Now, Carson was a guy that was a workhorse here last few games, but the last game only played about, 54% of snaps, with Penny getting 46%. So there is some risk. I think that's going to lower his ownership. I don't think he's a really safe play because, again, we don't know what the snaps are going to be like, really. But the price is down on him. And if he's playing well, I think they just ride him out. So this is an interesting buy here. Again, it's a riskier option because they do have another back, which they can give carries to with Rashad Penny. Again, no Thielen, so that's definitely a big boost to Stefon Diggs. Metcalf at a discounted price off those top guys at 7.6 is another guy that's firmly in play here in the mid-range. Again, if you can't get Lockett and Stefon Diggs, don't hate DK Metcalf. He does have that big play upside, and you get him at about a 2K discount from those top guys. Kyle Rudolph at 6.6. They've been running a lot of two tight end sets. He's actually had 3 pretty solid games. 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Don't know if we can expect that to continue. Early on in the season, he was really struggling with no Adam Thielen. There's a lot of usage to go around there in that offense. So Kyle Rudolph has been picking it up with no Adam Thielen. At 6.6K though, you are kind of paying a premium. So do you want to continue to ride that hot streak and pay a premium for Kyle Rudolph, or do you want to look elsewhere? Me personally, I might look elsewhere here just because the price is inflated. Penny, another guy that's an interesting play here. He's risky because I don't know if we can expect him to continue to get that type of workload. But Pete Carroll was optimistic about we're going to see if we can get more out of Rashad Penny. So that leads me to believe that he's still going to get a decent amount of work. So again, the Seattle running back situation is kind of up in the air, so it makes it a riskier target on this slate. But I think that lowers the ownership for both Penny and Carson. Hollister at 4.8K has been their number 1 tight end. He's certainly viable here at this price tag. 6, 10, and 4 targets. Russell Wilson does like targeting his tight ends. So I think Hollister is a perfectly fine cheap option here. Other options, Josh Gordon at 4.4K. They've been limiting his snaps here. He's been, kind of the number 3 guy, but 38 and 34% of snaps. If they're going to bump it up and he gets, all those number 3 snaps and maybe he gets like 75%, then he'd be a really good target. So maybe we get clarity of that before lock, if they're going to, bump up the snaps here for Josh Gordon. If not, it makes it for a riskier play because he's only been playing about 30% of the snaps. The 2 kickers, again, are always viable. I think on a good day, kickers can get you 10 to 15 fantasy points. In a GPP tournament lineup, I wouldn't play both of them, but you can definitely play 1 kicker in there for sure. Irv Smith, kind of like the price on him too, at 3.6K. They've been using a lot of 2 tight end sets with him and Kyle Rudolph. 6, and 3 targets, and I think he's viable, a cheap option. If you're going to make me choose between the tight ends, I might lean towards Irv Smith for 3K less compared to Kyle Rudolph. The 2 defenses here with the Vikings and Seahawks. It's a higher over-under game, right? Almost 50, so there should be some points scored in this one. Don't have an issue if you want to go with one of the defenses. It's just probably not going to be the way that I go on this slate. Now, Olabisi Johnson is one of the most mispriced players, in my opinion, on the slate at 2.6K. He's been, playing 83, 71, 81% of snaps. So he's been getting a lot of snaps. And at 2.6K, that's just too cheap for a guy that's getting that much run. And he's basically the number 2 guy right now with no Adam Thielen. So I think he's probably the best value play on the slate here at 2.6K. I think he's definitely mispriced. I think they priced him there because they thought Adam Thielen was going to play. With no Adam Thielen, I think Johnson becomes a really solid value play there at 2.6. And then we kind of get to the dart throw area, like Madison. The snaps are way down on him. Probably not for me. You know, Turner and Moore are intriguing, I guess. And those guys have been getting, 26 and 28% of snaps. So kind of more in the dart throw range. You're not going to feel great about it at 2K and 1.6K, but they could get you a couple catches and a touchdown on a good day. Treadwell, kind of the same thing. Dart throw area, he's getting about 15 to 20% of the snaps. Other options, Jaron Brown's completely out of the rotation. Luke Wilson, I mean, even if he comes back, I don't know if I would do it. He's more of a blocking tight end now at this point in his career. And that's really it. So let's talk about captains on the slate and where I'm liking to go for captains. So I'm thinking about, normally on these showdown slates, I don't consider quarterbacks in the captain spot unless they have rushing upside. Russell Wilson is a guy that, again, can get you some rushing yards. So he's someone I'm definitely considering there at 10.8K. I think he's a pretty safe option. Again, the quarterbacks always have the highest floors. If you're going to throw him in the captain spot, make sure you get some correlation. So running back like Lockett and like one other receiver if you want. Other options, again, I think Dalvin Cook is a pretty safe option. He's a guy that they utilize him a bunch, whether it be on the ground or through the air. So no issue if you want to go Cook there. I think he's a pretty safe option. I think Russell Wilson is a pretty safe option. The two kind of number 1 receivers with Diggs and Lockett don't have an issue there. The wide receivers have a pretty high ceiling. And then as far as like cheaper options, like don't mind Hollister there. Josh Gordon, if the snaps are going to go up, I would consider him. Even Irv Smith Jr. or Johnson, I think those would be the cheap guys I would consider, because if you throw like a Johnson in there at their captain spot, then you have, 9.2K remaining. You can almost get whoever else you want in your lineup. And that's always something you can consider. And he's a guy that's we know is probably going to play 80% of snaps or so with no Adam Thielen. So wouldn't mind going that way. Safe options, again, I think are Cook or Russell Wilson. That's kind of what I'm thinking here for this Monday Night Showdown slate. So I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you have been enjoying the content, would really appreciate if you could like this video and subscribe. Again, if you want to get entered in the giveaway, all you do is have a like and a comment in the video. That's 1 entry in the giveaway. I'll be back for another video today on the Thursday Night Showdown slate. If you're interested in NBA, I just uploaded my video for the 6-game NBA slate, main slate tomorrow. But thanks again for checking out the video, guys, and I will see you later.